Today on Deep Dive, we're going to be looking at DC Comics Detective Comics number 90. Why are Batman and Robin headed to Mississippi? The answer lies inside. Well, for today's comic, I've got a real throwback. It was published in 1944, just months after D-Day. You know, when the US and Allied troops invaded at Normandy on June 6, 1944? Now, since this comic is almost 78 years old, you're bound to find some pretty interesting writing, artwork, and advertising within it. It should be noted that it may depict some of the ethnic and racial prejudices that were commonplace in American society back then. These depictions were wrong then and are wrong today. You've no doubt noticed that the condition of comics in my collection has varied, and you'll see with the one today that the cover has been torn a bit. I think it remains in fairly good condition as far as I can tell, since no stories or ads are missing. If you enjoy these types of videos and want to see more content like it, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Detective Comics number 90 was published in August of 1944. Executive editor was Whitney Ellsworth, cover artist was Dick Sprang. There are multiple stories in this book. The Batman story in this issue is titled Crime Between the Acts, and it was written by Joseph Greene and penciled, inked, and lettered by Dick Sprang. The Boy Commando story in this issue, titled Commando Performance, was penciled and inked by Gus. The story titled Three-Ring Binks was written, penciled, inked, and lettered by Jack Farr. Following those is an Airwave story titled Battle of the Fans, and it was written, penciled, inked, and lettered by George Roussos. After that is a Slam Brady story, penciled and inked by Martin Naydel, titled The Double Steal. Also in this issue, there's a one-page Molly comic by Ray Houlihan, a short story by Devon titled The Warpath, and there are two single-page Ray McGill comics, one titled Rollin, and the second is Gus Gaggs. The book consists of 48 pages with a cover price of 10 cents. The Batman story, titled Crime Between the Acts, pits the dynamic duo against a band of criminals on board a steamboat. Batman and Robin learn of crime sprees taking place in different towns near the Mississippi River. They quickly arrive on the scene to find the criminals in the act of robbing a safe. Batman discovers that the criminals are part of an entertainment act on a steamboat crossing the river. Batman and Robin prove the performers' involvement in the crimes, and they follow the criminals to different towns until they finally face off against the leader. Robin and Batman have to contend with an alligator trap, and then after a brief chase, capture the leader of the gang on the banks of the Mississippi. Here we have our first Ray McGill comic titled Rollin, featuring a circus trainer and his elephant. And across to the other page is an ad for Wheaties, the breakfast of champions. Moving along, we come to the Joe Simon and Jack Kirby series Boy Commandos and their story titled Commando Performance. Since there are no orders from HQ, the Boy Commandos are bored from not seeing any action. To fight this boredom, their captain arranges a talent show for them to perform in. One of the boys is so excited that he's taken to juggling grenades and wearing a tiger shark mask. While it looks dangerous, keep in mind it's all part of the show. These grenades are fake and can't explode. So the next day, he's practicing his juggling alone in the jungle when some enemy soldiers spot and capture him. They plan to send one of their own troops back to the American base in disguise to impersonate the juggling soldier. The boy gives them the wrong password, and when the enemy soldier tries to enter the base, he gets shot at. Some of the enemy troops with him get away, and the boy commando is rescued. With the talent show in full swing, the base comes under attack from the enemy. This time, unbeknownst to them, the boy commando is juggling with real grenades, and he starts lobbing them at the enemy. Other US troops arrive to help, and the enemy soldiers are driven away. And across the way, we've got a full-page ad for Ever-Ready dry cells, and even a little note to buy war bonds. The next page here starts the comic Three-Ring Binks. It tells of a booking agent who works for the circus, and he hires a new act starring a man covered in tattoos who's also a double-jointed contortionist. On this page, we have the Molly comic by Ray Houlihan. It looks like she's let her imagination run away with her. And next we have the short story by Devon titled The Warpath. Moving along, we come to the Airwave story titled Battle of the Fans. It shows a group of kids who are fans of the superhero Airwave trying to hold a fan club meeting. The meeting is suddenly broken up by a bully named Mike, and he tries to coerce them into joining his gang. He tells them how swell it would be to hang out with him and suggests that they rob a jewelry store. Before they can break in, Airwave dives onto the scene and quickly breaks up the crowd. With the fight nearly won, Airwave is knocked unconscious and the bullies take him and the kids to a vacant lot to be disposed of. Just as all hope seems lost, Airwave regains consciousness and quickly beats up the mobsters. Here's a great full-page ad for kids to save popsicle, creamsicle, and fudgicle bags. Finally, we come to the last comic in the book, The Double Steal, a Slam Brady story. Our two heroes, Slam Brady and Shorty Morgan, rescue a newspaper man from gunmen trying to take his newspaper stand. You know, typical 1940s stuff. Then they stumble on a jewelry store robbery in progress and get knocked out. When they regain consciousness, the robbers don't trust one another and a fight breaks out between them. Slam and Shorty seize on the opportunity and keep the fight going long enough for the police to arrive. And there's a great little box after the story reminding the reader that the U.S. Army packs food, ammunition, and medical supplies inside paper cartons, because paper is a weapon of war. Flipping over to the last page, we get another great Wheaties ad, and then the last Ray McGill comic called Gus Gaggs. Looks like poor Gus can't make the bus on time. On the back of the comic, there's an ad for Royal Crown Cola, set to the tone of U.S. troops almost being tricked by an undercover spy. She's quickly apprehended, of course, and they celebrate with a Royal Crown Cola. Just a sign of the times. Well, I hope you found this deep dive informative, and remember, if there's a particular issue or comic you'd like me to flip, drop it down in the comments section below and I'll see if I can add it to my pull box. As always, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. You can always find me on Instagram at DHArtist. And until next time, deep divers, thanks for watching.